Easy guys, Dom here from Cringy Dad Gaming. So in this video we are going to be discussing Diablo 2 Resurrected and how Blizzard have updated this classic role-playing hack and slash game from the year 2000 to something a little bit more up to date. Will it be able to bring in new players that have never played the original, and just how does it feel compared to other games of a similar genre? Well, let's jump into the video and find out. Now, the first thing you'll notice when you see any gameplay of this and then compare it next to how the original looked is there's obviously a huge jump in graphical quality because the original was released over 20 years ago. That's a massive time frame. I think for a lot of people who played the original, they are going to have a lot of nostalgia here with this. But in terms of the gameplay, it feels very different to maybe what you'd expect if you've played something like Diablo 3. Now, I played extensively Diablo 3, right through from the original version that was released back in 2012, right through to the Reaper of Souls edition that was released in 2014. And I played this on a few different consoles and then eventually PC. And I have to say, for those of you who have played Diablo 3 and have not played the Diablo 2 original version, there's going to be some differences, not only with how the game looks, but also with how it plays. Now, I would say that Diablo 2 Resurrected, at its core, is more of a hack and slash than what Diablo 3 is. Diablo 3 has a lot more magical elements, using different magical spells and abilities on a hotbar, where with Resurrected, you are looking at just simply using mainly your left and right mouse button just to hack and slash away at enemies. Yes, there are a lot of different classes that you can choose from, and I've not had a chance to look into any of these, and there's a couple that aren't actually available in the beta. But from what I've played of it so far, it's definitely feeling a little bit more like a hack and slash, and to be honest with you, it reminded me more of something like Titan Quest in terms of the way the combat feels than Diablo 3. So there is some differences between the game, and I think you can't get away from that fact because Diablo 2 obviously was created and designed that way, with Diablo 3 being a lot newer with fresh ideas and different mechanics at play. Because Diablo 2 Resurrected is not a remake, it's a remaster. So everything that was kind of there in the core of the game is going to be there now. The only thing that's going to be different, obviously, is the way it looks. And I guess to a certain extent things have been updated, voice acting's been added, the music. The mechanics behind the scenes of the game as well would have been buffed. But overall, the game feels like a hack and slash that is more like, for me, something like Titan Quest, not like Diablo 3. So for those of you who have played Diablo 3 but have not played Diablo 2, you're going to find this game to be quite different. Yes, it is a really good game if you want to scratch that Diablo itch while you're waiting for their next release, which could be quite far off in the future. But it isn't anything like Diablo 3 in the way the game looks and feels, to be honest with you, because it's a totally different art style going on here. I found Diablo 3 to be a lot more vibrant in its colours, its graphics are a lot more smooth and not as crisp in some areas as what you're going to find with the way Diablo 2 Resurrected looks. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a beautiful looking game, it looks great. I think they've done a really good job of making, everything look a lot more up to date, the HUD elements, the menus, just the overall graphics and effects and lighting are all still really good. But it still holds some of that core originality from the original, which a lot of people who played the original will probably like. But I'm not sure if people who are looking for a more modern experience will maybe get that. It still looks, I don't know, it's odd to say it, and it feels strange to say it, but it does feel dated, even though it looks like a brand new game. And that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable to play, and I'm not trying to crap on the game by any means. I am a big fan of the Diablo games, and this is a game that I've really enjoyed. I've played so far. I've only played a very small amount of the beta, but enough to kind of get a feel for it. And I know it's definitely going to be a game that I'm going to be buying and I'm going to be playing. But I just want to point out that there is a difference between those games, and that can sometimes be a good thing. It's not Diablo 4. It's not the next Diablo game. It is a remaster of a game that was released in 2000. But I do think that those of you out there that like these styles of games, I think you'll really enjoy it. If you've not really played much in this genre and you're trying to get into this kind of genre of games or you want to try it out, then you may also really enjoy it. But personally, I would recommend maybe trying something like Diablo 3 first if you've not played it, because Diablo 3 for me is just a fantastic game. It was one of the standout Diablos for me, just in all elements, you know, the story, the voice acting, the gameplay, the way it looks. It's just fantastic. For me, the only thing really that is missing in Diablo 2 Resurrected is a hotbar filled with fantastic abilities and spells to use, which you usually get across, you know, the number keys on your keyboard if you're playing on PC, and that would usually come alongside, you know, being able to use the mouse for some of your main attacks. That for me is the only thing that is missing, although I did see something that you can actually bind abilities to the F1 through to F4 keys, but I've not come across the option to be able to do that in the abilities in this game yet, so I'm not sure if I've kind of misunderstood that in some form. And if any of you guys have experienced using that in game, then please do share in the comments of the video. But for me, that is the only thing really that I feel this game is missing at this point. It just feels a little bit odd how you are literally just using 2 attacks and you can't use any more abilities other than that. Maybe it's the class that I was playing as, because I was playing as the barbarian pretty much for my time playing the beta. But one thing we do know with Blizzard, they are very attuned to the community's feedback. As you would know if you played Diablo 3, they continually added content for years into that game, constantly tweaking it and making it better for people to be able to play it. And that game is still really hot right now. And I just think that's a really good sign, because you are going to have this game being released pretty soon. And I can see Blizzard putting in a lot of effort into making sure that the game and gameplay is streamlined. And, you know, the gameplay obviously you're seeing now is beta gameplay, so you know it could change. The things that you're seeing on the screen could change before its final release, or they could even change further on with updates. But I think as it stands right now, it's pretty solid, and I had an enjoyable time playing it, and I'm very excited for its final release. I just hope that there's going to be enough content in it to be able to scratch that Diablo itch without it feeling like too much of a different game. Now, you definitely got the remnants of Diablo in there because it's a Diablo game, but I'm just talking more from a perspective of people that hadn't played Diablo or Diablo 2 and started right off at Diablo 3, because for me it's a very different game. There's a lot of nods to the Diablo lore, there's going to be things you recognise in Diablo 2 Resurrected, but just bear in mind that you are going into this game with it being a remaster, not a brand new game. So share your thoughts on Diablo 2 Resurrected, how you feel about it. What do you think about this game? Do you think it's something you would play? Do you think it's something you're going to skip? Let me know in the comments below. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Watch this space for more Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I'll catch you guys on another video. Thanks for watching.
I am Akara, High Priestess of the Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye. I welcome you, traveler, to our camp, but I'm afraid I can offer you but poor shelter within these rickety walls. You see, our ancient sisterhood has fallen under a strange curse. The mighty citadel, from which we have guarded the gates to the east for generations, has been corrupted by the evil demoness Andariel. I still can't believe it. But she turned many of our sister rogues against us and drove us from our ancestral home. Now the last defenders of the Sisterhood are either dead or scattered throughout the wilderness. I implore you, stranger, please help us. Find a way to lift this terrible curse, and we will pledge our loyalty to you for all time.